these brand new bodies start at $9,500 for both the A86 and the 240Z body. Their newest chassis is the 1967 Ford Mustang that costs around $16,000 US. Considering how much labor and man hours it takes to do something at this scale, it really is incredible. They are only able to achieve this because 95% of the process behind building these bodies is done in-house. I'll get into the business, moral, and ethical side of building brand new classic cars, but I first want to show you how they build these step by step. To start the process, they have to get two unmodified as straight as possible chassis. One to take apart piece by piece, and one to verify that the new stamped parts are actually up to factory standards. This is extremely difficult as none of the cars that they're building now were ever available in mainland China. They take apart the chassis and 3D scan every single piece. They clean up the 3D data as much as possible, and they make a stamping die for every single panel, which we had a chance to see firsthand.
Right now we are in the stamping die area where they make two different types of dies. We're going to check out the process, and we're also going to check out some of the dies that they've made already. This is an 2026 Toyota Hilux here. You're probably wondering, why is this here in China? Well, they make the body replacement parts for a lot of those aftermarket places where, let's say you get rear-ended and they want to use an aftermarket part instead of an OEM part to replace the tailgate. Well, this is exactly what this is. And they just took it off of the CNC machines here, and they're verifying to make sure that it's within spec. They already did a bunch of grinding on it to knock down some of the parts that were incorrect. Now they're test stamping a couple pieces, and then they're going to scan it and compare it to the 3D data to make sure it's within spec. Up here you could see that is the negative, and this is the positive.
What you're looking at is their fourth A86 body, about a third of the way assembled. As soon as the workers got back from lunch, they went back into full swing, utilizing the dies that we saw them make next door.
Cars behind. So they have this crane system that they're using to move the stamping die for the 240Z roof. So they're loading it all together, and then they're going to stamp it for us. The 240Z and the A86 use 300 plus dies. It's so cool to see something transform that quick. It's unmistakable. I'm looking at this and it looks like I'm looking at the top of my car. I mean, you can imagine the rear hatch just go into this area, and then also in the front, you can imagine the front glass fitting right up to it.
This is such a labor-intensive process, And as you saw, it was very difficult just to create the molds. This is why it's so much easier to make aftermarket body parts out of fiberglass and carbon fiber. It's not as expensive to make and not as labor intensive. Each panel is loaded on by hand and stamped one by one. All the OEM manufacturers that we have visited have a similar process, but these panels are usually loaded in by robots, which means some have to go through multiple steps, like this 240Z fender or rear quarter panel, for example. It's already gone through a few stampings, but to finish it off, they have to load these in one by one for this final step. They also have a specific area where they stamp the smaller, more intricate parts, where I had a chance to help just a little bit.
That was so cool. So I helped them build a little amount of the excess metal. And what they do is they put it in these jigs and they start the program, and this robot arm just cuts it down to size. So while most of the body and the processes are hand done, as you guys can see, there's some help from machines. It's just so much quicker and it's so much more efficient to use these robot arms to plasma cut these, whereas before it would have to be done by hand. You can see this individual right here, he's programming it for the next thing that it needs to cut. That way they could just run the program with a click of a button.
Each stamped part gets electroplated and coated as well as primered.
Junchen Electro Forces line. Dude, this is... I wasn't ready for this.
And there are rumors that they're potentially working on a 300 SL Gullwing. Both will end up costing about $18,000 as they are much more intricate than the 240Z and the A86 to build and assemble. This is the interesting thing about this entire business being in a gray area. They say that it's alright for them to do this because the vehicles they build are over 25 years old and they don't put the badges on the chassis. And technically, these are just for you to quote-unquote restore your car. But when does it actually become a restoration versus slapping the VIN number of a destroyed car onto a new chassis? We featured so many resto-mod companies in the past that do this very thing. Some of them just save the door handles of the donor vehicle, but then there are others like the FJ company in Colombia that go as far as to keep the firewall. When does it make it okay to call it a restoration?